Hi, my name is Susan Karcheski and I'm the owner of Perfectly Unique Design Studio and Boutique in Pearson, Indiana, and I'm going to teach you today how to take a button and wire wrap it to make a bezel around it to make a pendant. So let's get started. For this project you'll need a pair of needle nose pliers, pair of wire cutters, 26 gauge wire, a button, round nose pliers. This is just two different examples of sizes of round nose pliers. 16 gauge wire, an anvil block or steel block, and measuring tape. Okay, to begin we're going to cut off a piece of our 16 gauge wire, and we're going to cut off a piece that's approximately 3 times the size of the button doubled. 1, 2, 3. That's how I get my measurement, by taking the button and moving it up so we could cover the button about 3 times the size with the wire. So we'll cut that off. There's our first piece of wire. Next we're going to take our 26 gauge round wire and we're going to use 36 inches, which is 1 yard. I've pre-cut this wire to show you that it's already cut at 36 inches. So we're going to use this wire and we're going to double it just like we did the other wire. And it's approximately twice the size of this first 16 gauge wire. The 16 gauge should be 3 times the size of the button, and the 26 gauge should be double the first wire, which is the 16 gauge wire. So now we're ready to begin to start our weave. Now that we've cut the wire, we're going to take the blue wire and we're going to shape it. This is going to be the width of the button. It needs to be about a 1/2 inch, depending on what size button you use, because this is going to go around and hold the button in. That's why it's called a bezel. We want to keep our wire at about a 1/2 inch width. We're going to take the purple wire now, the 26 gauge wire, and we're going to put that around the blue wire, so it's completely around the blue wire, and we're going to start a weave. So we start up here toward the top. You can leave a little bit of a space there, and we're going to take the one side and go in, wrap it in 2 times around the blue wire. 1, 2, and push that together a little bit, and same with the other side. I'm going to take the first wire in, go around again 2 times, so we get that purple wire anchored to the blue wire, and then we're going to cross them in the middle and go back to the outside again, and we're going to do the same thing we did before. 1, 2, and then we're going to take the other side. Now bring it in, wrap it around the blue wire twice, once and then twice, and we're going to cross them again. And now we're going to bring in our anvil, our steel block, to help us hold this so we can weave fluently. So we can put our button aside and we're going to pull this. We want to always keep this at a 1/2 inch measurement if possible. We don't want to pull too tight on the wire. So here we go again. We're going to do our 1, pull it up, and 2, pull it up, and it's kind of like stitching. Once and twice, and then we were going to cross it again in the middle, pull it tight, and we start getting a weave. You don't want these spaced out too far apart, so it's going to take a little time to get this going. Okay, now I've weaved, probably about a quarter of the way, but we're going to take it off and measure. You take it off from underneath the anvil, and we're going to line it up. And you can kind of see what we're going to do here. We're going to make sure that our width is good because it has to go around the button, and it has to be enough to hold the button in. So I think we're okay. And so we probably have 3/4 of the way to go yet, but I wanted to show you it wrapped around the button for you to get the idea of what the bezel is going to look like. So we'll go back to weaving. We'll put this back under the anvil, and we'll continue on with our weave. So again, we did our cross here, and keeping your wire straight, about that 1/2 inch. You don't want to have your other wire get too small, so always check your width. And we're going to do 2 on this side again. Okay, and then we're going to do 2 wraps around the blue wire. 1, 2. I kind of push them up with my fingers just to make sure we're not getting it too wide. And then we start our X again. 1, 2. Bring that other one underneath, and we're right back at starting another weave. So this is what it looks like, and we'll keep going. Okay, now that we've woven this far, we're going to take it off from underneath the anvil, and we're going to measure, take it around the button and see if we're ready to complete this. So you gently take it and mold it around the button, and that's about perfect. You don't want your wrap to go over the beginning, so we're pretty good there. So we're going to take the button down now, and we're going to cut these ends off right here with our wire cutters. And we're going to tuck that end in. Now we're going to cut off the other wire on the other side, and we're going to take our wire cutters, cut it short here, just enough to have a little piece that we can tuck it in. So we take our pliers and we just press on the wire and kind of round it around the wire so that there's nothing sharp, and we tuck that piece of wire in with the needle nose pliers. So it should look like this, and we're ready to put it around. We're making the bezel around the button. The rest of this wire is going to be our bail, but we don't need this much, so I'm going to cut off a little bit. Okay, so what we're going to do is take these 2 wires and go up through the beginning loop that we started. Makes it very convenient. And we just mold it around the button. Make sure it's straight. Hold it tight. Okay, and now we're going to make our bail while we hold it, because it will anchor it around the button. So to make a bail, we're going to take your thumb and mold it around your thumb and kind of press this together here. I call it like bunny ears. We take our pliers and squeeze it together here so it's not real fat. Here's where you can use your round nose pliers to just round this bail out. It makes it nice and round. Okay, and so we made our bunny ears, and we have to take the end of the wire here and go around 2 times. Okay, and that should tighten your bezel around the button. Finish it off with the rest of the wire and tuck it in. I can turn this over and work on the other side here. We tuck these wires in. And then we might have to reopen up our bail since we've been tucking in. And what I do now is to make sure it's really in, is kind of take my pliers and push it around the button. Each wire, so that I know it's really in there good. Okay, kind of molding it around the button so it's nice and tight. Just keep pushing it gently around the button, and then we kind of tweak the bezel and get these wires in the front to the back. And there we have our bezel button pendant. This is a pendant that I did another day, and I have an extra wire on the top, so I made some scrolling. And this one that I did today, I wanted to show you, is very plain, so you could have it either way. And say you got done with this button pendant and you thought, oh, I really would like to have some more coiling on it. I'm going to show you now how to add a wire on to your work and make a coil like this pendant. So if you want a little more detail here, you can take a piece of wire. I used one that's about 6 inches, and I'm going to wrap this around twice. 1, 2. Okay. And that also makes the bezel a little tighter in case you were a little loose. Okay, wrap the other side around. And to do a coil now, we're going to cut this side a little shorter. I usually start my coils about 1.5 inches. So to do a coil, you're going to take your pliers and turn up the end. Just make a little loop. Okay? And then you take your needle nose pliers and you just make half turns horizontally up the wire. This is a coil. Keep going till you get closer to the pendant. And if you want to move that in front, just take your pliers, move it in front, and say you want it to lay this way. So I call this my jag. It's kind of my technique where I take the wire and make a half right turn, and it sets the coil where you want it. So we have one more side. This is a little long, but I'll actually use it to tighten up that bezel. Go around one more time. And now I'm going to cut off just a little. And again, start with a little loop on the end. And then roll up the wire using half turns with your needle nose pliers. This is a nice coil. Get to the top and place it where you want it. And again, if I want my wire to lay down, I grab it and do my half turn, which is called a jag, to get it to lay down. But this one I actually want in a different place. So we're going to put it over here so we have some interesting dimension here. Okay, so we have our 2 coils, and you can have it like that, or you can do more scrolling. You can add on wire, whatever you'd like to design around your bezel button pendant. Thank you for watching my video, and I look forward to teaching you more jewelry lessons from JewelryLessonVideos.com.